Welcome back to Hannity. Now, several Democrats are talking tough when it comes to the fight against the ISIS terror network. Take a look.
We need to be working now, full speed ahead, with other countries to destroy ISIS. That should be our #1 priority.
As a nation, we're united. And when people harm Americans, we don't retreat. We don't forget. We take care of those who are grieving. And when that's finished, they should know we will follow them to the gates of hell until they are brought to justice. Because hell is where they will reside.
Well, that's a far cry from the president saying we have no strategy as of yet. Now, after the vice president delivered those strong words, well, Democratic Senator from New Hampshire, Jeanne Shaheen, she tweeted, quote, "Do not believe ISIL is manageable. Agreed, these terrorists must be chased to the gates of hell." But can the left's fighting words really be trusted? Because years ago, prior to the Iraq war, some Democrats also came out strong regarding the fight against Saddam Hussein. You may remember. Take a look.
And it is a vote that says clearly to Saddam Hussein, this is your last chance. Disarm or be disarmed.
Saddam is dangerous. The world would be a better place without him. For years now, he has prevented the United Nations inspectors from uncovering those weapons and verifying Iraq's disarmament. And he is in violation of the terms he agreed to, allowing him to stay in power.
All right, here with reaction, author of the New York Times #1 bestseller, Things That Matter, Fox News contributor, Dr. Charles Krauthammer. Charles, good to see you, my friend. Here's my question. They all laid out the case for Iraq, and then when the going got tough, they politicized the war. As a result, President Obama was elected. He pulled out, didn't provide intelligence to Iraqi troops, didn't provide training, and all those cities that Americans fought, bled, and died for are now in the hands of this radical group. How could we trust them now at this point?
Well, look, I think they were responding when they turned against the war to the fact that it was not as quick and clean as they had imagined it might be. And I think it'll remain the same. It'll remain always. Americans don't like protracted wars. The real problem was not that they abandoned the war when the going was tough. The real issue, and the thing that history will judge them on, is that almost all of those Democrats who supported the Iraq war then turned against it remained turned against it when George W. proposed the most courageous decision of his presidency, which was the surge. They voted against the surge. They argued against the surge. They even denied the surge was working when it clearly did. And the surge won the war for us. Now, Obama's the one who, unfortunately, was unable to manage the victory. He was not able to broker a coalition government. That was his one task in 2010. And then he was not able to manage a status of forces agreement. He threw away the victory, and now we are reaping the results of that terrible decision.
Threw away a victory where 4,000 Americans gave their lives and many others shed their blood. Let me play an admonition that George Bush gave us, warning us, predicting that if we withdrew too soon from Iraq, exactly what would happen. Listen to this.
Begin withdrawing before our commanders tell us we are ready would be dangerous for Iraq, for the region, and for the United States. It would mean surrendering the future of Iraq to al-Qaeda. It would mean that we'd be risking mass killings on a horrific scale. It would mean we allow the terrorists to establish a safe haven in Iraq to replace the one they lost in Afghanistan. It would mean increasing the probability that American troops would have to return at some later date to confront an enemy that is even more dangerous.
The only part that is yet to come true is that Americans would have to return at a later date to confront an even more dangerous enemy. Is he going to be right there as well?
Well, that depends whether Obama can come up with a comparably smart strategy to the one that we had with the surge. At that point, it required American troops on the ground. At this point, as of now, it does not appear to. We have willing partners on the ground. The Kurdish fighters, the Iraqi army, at least parts of it, some of the Shiite militias, and what's left of the Free Syrian Army. And there are other neighbors around the region who might join the fight if they have confidence in the seriousness and the staying power of the American commander-in-chief, the way, for example, the neighboring states had confidence in the competence and the staying power of George Bush Sr. when he organized a coalition for the Gulf War. In those circumstances, we may not have to send ground troops back. We have a very powerful, robust Air Force, very precise. We know what the Air Force did with a minimal number of troops on the ground, supporting the Northern Alliance in taking over Afghanistan, wild, rugged, untamed, in 100 days. So we know what we can do with Air Force, with Special Forces, spotters on the ground, and the use of local ground forces. Can Obama replicate that in Iraq? I don't know. We'll find out.
It's kind of, I don't know how anybody can have confidence when in 1 week we go from having no strategy at all to chasing them to the gates of hell. I'm not confident. I don't see how anyone else could be either. Charles, good to see you. Thank you.